CTM, what is going on, everyone? I hope you're well and doing great. I am so happy to be here with you for old school CTM sessions. Guys, in the last day, I received two messages from people about the impact that CTM has made on their life. You have no idea what that means to me. Absolutely everything. Do you remember what it was like back in the day? If I would like, I would probably take the time to just absolutely lean in to someone like this. And you know what I'm saying? I used to go off on those lovely rants, but there's no need for that whatsoever. At this point in time, you're talking about 5 years, track history speaks for itself, turn after turn. Obviously, on the right side, unbelievable awareness that we all build and share together. And just so that for those that paying attention, upload speed, let us know we're near a peak. I stop uploading at the last peak. I didn't start uploading at the last peak. Some people just miss. You could just feed them. You could feed them, and some can't get out of the nest and go learn to soar like an eagle. That's okay. That's all good. I love guys. What a wonderful moment to be here with all of you. I am so grateful for it. But guess what? We got a lot of work to do. We got to get into it and we got to make sure that we stay focused and on the right side. A lot of people coming to realize what's taking place here. And by the way, did you see that right now the president of the United States is calling for the crypto bill to get on his desk immediately. I suppose this is after he was able to launch the Bitcoin ETF. Now he's ready for the crypto bill to be presented and on side, bringing needed clarity to the space. Everyone is looking forward to that. Jay Cora, what a great. I received this. I have to share it with you. This was really cool to see. Someone yesterday commenting, "Look, if Jordan has it, 100% real." Lavan, thank you so much for just helping to build me up. It's about building each other up and becoming the best versions of ourselves. If not the best, top three. Easy for TA Vision. Bravo. Much appreciated. Much love. Really, real. NVIDIA is over here popping out of that consolidation. Check this out, everyone. What's going on? NVIDIA looking to potentially tag a new all time high. Is this going to be, guys, what do we have to watch out for here? A liquidity grab. We have to watch out for it. We don't want to see it. Nevertheless, we want to make sure that if NVIDIA is able to break out here to an all time high, that it's able to hold that breakout. That could be an early warning sign if it were not able to go ahead. It looks like, though, we have seen another leg up right now. I'm just going to go ahead and borrow that one. And we'd like to hold this, what was this base, the resistance of that base, and a beautiful textbook consolidation and breakout so far into play. I've noticed that today, let me just check what's going on here. Nasdaq after tagging new all-time high, kind of right now on the back foot. The exuberance three, I'll call them right now. CoreWeave IPO, 3350 Metaplanet and Circle today, just taking a breather here. You could see that CoreWeave pulling back just a tiny bit over here. Metaplanet, a little bit of a scare, but it seems to be. Look, there seems one cause for concern out there. I would throw out there for Metaplanet. I mean, massively ambitious plans. Next 2 years, looking to accumulate 1% of the total Bitcoin supply, 210,000 Bitcoin. They right now have roughly 11,000 Bitcoin. But one cause for concern is that Japan is floating the idea of changing their Bitcoin laws, getting rid of capital gains, and also there was something else out there that went in conjunction with that. And right now, Metaplanet is in Japan locally is a highly favorable play because Bitcoin right now is just it's the best way, most advantage way for anyone in Japan to take advantage of Bitcoin. That might offer some competition. Just watch out for that. And then Circle, after the massively successful launch out of the IPO, pulling back a little, filling a little bit of a gap. And did you guys see this? This was really, really, really got me really happy. We saw, uh, we saw that the Bank of International Settlements is claiming stable coins fail as money, and they call for strict limits on their role. Hysterical opposition to stablecoin. Here's what I like about it. You ready? And let me just break this down for you. This is my own belief. Remember, this is the guy in 2020 was like, listen, the next crisis, they're going to cause the next crisis, and they're going to do it to go ahead and institute CBDCs. You guys all remember? I remember that. What's happened though since though is it, I mean, Europe is on the verge here for sure. We have to watch out for that. I don't think it's going to be successful. I don't think it's going to work, which is great for humanity. A lot of people worried that what's happening in the U.S. is like a backdoor to CBDCs, and that's through stable coins. Look, I've talked about some of the differences, and including, for example, on a CBDC, you could engineer it so that, like, if the money's not spent within X amount of time, whether that's 90 days, 6 months, 1 year, it disappears from your account. Now, with stable coins, you could for sure you could freeze the coin. Like, remember the Canadian protesters out in Canada, right? And you know how they were cut off from the banking system. With stable coins, it's really easy to do. You got people at something like the January 6th, I don't even know what to call it, a protest. And then like they could just take all of their phone data and instantly freeze everyone's bank accounts. That would be absolutely horrific. And things like that can likely not, I mean, they have the ability to be used, and there's a good chance that they could be. That's obviously very bad. Different than a stable coin being like, okay, anyone who supports Black Lives Matters, you're gonna get we're paying you 12% interest rate. And anyone who lives out in the country, we're actually charging you negative interest. Like they could just engineer it in a different way that stable coins can't. But when you see the Bank of International Settlements, and the Bank of International Settlements is worried about stable coins, that means that right now the Genius Act is a good thing. That means that the whole idea of using stable coins, at least for the US, as a way to go ahead and entrench US dollar dominance throughout the whole world as the reserve currency by having this bid come into for US Treasury bonds. It seems like that the powers that be, the Bank of International Settlements answers to nobody. Nobody in the world nobody has jurisdiction over them. The so-called central bank of central bankers. So that's positive. I like that a lot. Um Brooks, why did you call sell at 77K? Brooks, you're in a right now, you're with a group of people who watch CTM every day. And honest question, and honestly, they have no idea what you're talking about. So, and I don't either, and I don't know really what to say or how to answer that. But I'll try my best and as authentically as possible. And I could say that over here at 94, like fast forward over to here, rewind over to here at 94, and watching this structural support right over here that we had touched one, two, three times. I was hoping for a breakout to the upside, and I said that if we break that at that point in time, our expectation is that the drawdown is going to be much greater and take much more time to go ahead and recover from. And that's what happened. We, instead of having a 15% drawdown from the all-time high, we wound up having a 30% drawdown. And it took 3 months to recover, more or less. And for sure, that was the technical awareness point given. 77 sell. Maybe were we selling at that point? Let me go ahead and jump over to BTC 107. Maybe this is what you are reading into and confused about. And I think this is what you're talking about right here. Maybe, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe you saw a tweet or something that said that. I mean, that's not 77,000. So I'm at a loss. I'm not really sure what you're talking about or where that's coming from. But I know the majority of people here they watch CTM every day, and they're on the right page. And I don't really know what to say to that or how to answer that. It's just um I mean, we had an exit at Bitcoin bull runs much higher. We tweeted at 90,000. Our TA awareness was a little bit better of an entry. Then we had a quick repositioning. I'm not sure where you're coming from or what you're talking about, but you know, I'm not sure, Brooks. Um, all right. What else is going on over here? I was looking at this briefly, and I want to just start off today's session with this here. Um, I'm not sure, but here we are. It's like, listen, so many times I've listened to someone speak and thought I've heard something, and then I listened to it again, and I realized I was wrong. And then not only that, I'm so aware of it now that if I find something really really interesting, I'll listen to it multiple times. And like I don't think it's just me. I'm glad I've come to that awareness of myself that like many times, especially on the internet, I have misunderstood what people were saying, and maybe at the time I didn't have the overall knowledge to understand exactly what they were saying. And guess that's the whole process. We live and we learn and we grow, and we live and we learn and we grow, and hopefully we make better choices and we continue living, learning, and growing. That's what we're here for. Um, Look, this is really interesting. So I like this chart a lot. And instead of lining the cycles up from the halving or from the low, but from the high point, and a couple of interesting observations. And one is that it looks like that they all bottomed, obviously, right around the same point. But what's really interesting here is that on the way down, you could see the current cycle we're in had JC. What is going on? Oof, this is leveling up. I have to get here. This is great. This is what I just heard. Am I accurate? Ask myself that, and then listen and watch again. And guess what? We all have bias. So, for example, if you had a bias against me and you heard me picked up just like a random signal from you, you're gonna have bias against that. Or anyway, I think we all understand, and you know over here, you can see the white cycle, 2021 lined up from the high over here, and then the 2013. And you can see that this one is up and then this is down. And look how there's the reversion. Fast forward a few months, and then this cycle is deviated to the upside and the white one to the downside, right? Very, very interesting. Over here, you have the current cycle in the middle. By the way, major, major difference was the this cycle having the least amount of drawdown to date. So we have diminishing losses on the downside. 85, 84, 76. Over here, you can see the white is in the middle, and then we have a major deviation between the two. This should have been a sign in June of 2019 that listen, that move was way overdone. Was the move off of I forget exactly the prices, but it was somewhat like the move from I forget 3,500 to 14,000. It was came very very quick. But here you go again, and right now you fast forward to this cycle over here, right around the halving, and this white cycle is currently way overextended. And look which one is way underextended. Fast forward to what's happening over here, and look at this. This is amazing. Look how this current cycle, look how overextended it remains until we get to where we are. Right here, we have the white one cooling off, and which one gets overextended? The previous one, the blue one. This one is still sustainable channel. Remember, sustainable channel. We're currently in a sustainable channel. Look what it does, the power it gives as we go forward. And right now we're all on time, which I love, and it's not the first time, and it happens very often where all the cycles are on time. I don't think personally that do you guys foresee this happening? That like we went from the white cycle very overheated. We went from the light blue over here down to lagging. Fast forward, and then we had that reversion again. Now the light one is overheated. And we're now towards the bottom of the range here. I think we're gonna lag coming forward. I don't think that we're about to, by the end of the summer and into the fall, be trading between 170 and or one even 150, right? I mean, we looked at that in detail yesterday of what our expectations were if we get this current breakout, which we're going to talk about in a moment. It looks like what there you go. MD's on the same page as me. We're going to look at that in 1 second from a TA standpoint. I just want to open with this, and we're almost finishing down over here. But MD, we're going to get to that, and what my belief is in 1 second. In 1 second. Now over here, where we have we went from the white one overextended, the lagger is now leading, and we're seeing that again, that dance that goes on. And if you ask me, are we going to see into the fall Bitcoin trading and playing catch up at 200, 220,000 again? I don't think so. Now, we have a lot of moving pieces happening right now. And I wonder if Poly Market hadn't updated the odds of the Bitcoin Act being passed by the end of the year, what the current probabilities would be. But I would say that, and remember, the first 90 days, a lot of people are like, where's the Bitcoin reserve? I'm like, what are you talking about? There's like way higher priorities for the administration to be working through than a Bitcoin reserve. At this point in time, though, and we're only into the summer, we're like we're just in, but it seems a lot more potentially probable that could happen. And if that did happen, then yes, if the U.S. government announces that over 5 years they're buying 1 million Bitcoin, yeah, we have a good chance of this once again being and playing out on time. Outside of that happening, I don't think that happens, and I think we get more of a situation where we went from the leader and the lagger reversing, and I think that we're lagging. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that if we are lagging. Actually, I think it's very healthy. And then after, not excuse me, in addition to that, I think at some point over here, we're back into the middle, and now we see the blue cycle going from the top down to the bottom. That's what I think. I think that's very clear, and I think that that's very probable that we see things like that play out. We wanted to move over. By the way, Bitcoin here entering the market across the board on all of our 8 hour swing trading variations, including buy side only. So, buy side only, right? Taking a full allocation of all of the account capital, where now the other third of Ethereum and Solana, that capital that was on the sidelines, went all into Bitcoin. And how far away are we from Ethereum entering the market as well? This is a discretionary view that we were looking at over here. And the last thing that we had was the breakdown over here. And that was a great opportunity for people who are trading. This is a 2 hour time frame. This is for people who are looking to trade on a for Bitcoin a very short time frame over here. But that was a nice little move over here. 5%, 4% plus. very quickly. And then we had the breakout over here. Now this is CTM, one touch over here. Remember this, and this, and for hindsight, this would have been better. Now notice I have the touch here. We had the breakout over here, which is why I have the one touch. And then we just wicked above, and you could see the clean breakout after the breakdown, the clean breakout. That would have been better. That's not how I was lining it up. I was lining it up off the one touch over here and still offering plenty of opportunity. And once again, over here with 2%, pretty good deal. At this point in time, I'm now going to go ahead and show and move the stop loss, and you can see the resistance, the support. This is how the trade currently managed, which is offering at this point, if you're holding, a very small loss. It's not yet at break even. 2%, is that enough? You targeting a little higher? I'm still let that go. That's a little discretionary move. We see that Bitcoin has entered on the buy side. Cardano, still that weakness is apparent, still holding a short trade, currently 16% into profit, as Bitcoin here on the day is currently still holding into the green. And Ethereum is just, continuing that consolidation. And we're not close at all, about 50-50, a little favoring the buy side over here before entering the market. So Bitcoin here is leading the way up. I'm missing something. I'm trying to show you something. Here we go. I guess I'll jump back over here. We'll start over here. The question that is being asked is, what's next? What's next for Bitcoin? Are we looking at 115,000, which my feed is very bullish on, or 85,000? And I'll show you right now why I picked both of those numbers. Are we going to continue in a range between 110 and 100? 80, and this is MMD. 85K is possible, and it's very possible. Technically, we'll look at it in 1 second. Market is on the bullish edge. Markets on the, I mean, NASDAQ hit all-time highs. Reason to be bullish. I still see lots of hedge funds positioning on the short side. And then I see some investment desks flipping bullish up here at the top. So you have to wonder, see, I have to get off on a tangent and just tie everything together. And of course, we see NVIDIA here, it's very strong, coming back towards all-time highs. We want to see if it breaks it and holds it. Very important. We see the speculative plays just kind of taking a little bit of a cool off, I guess. But NASDAQ here hitting the all-time highs. Look, we want to stay above the yellow line, breaking down below 22, the psychological whole number, which is a confluence of resistance. That would be a warning sign that we are going to get a little spicy. And the seasonality is, very much express that this is for a 2 week period, a little bit of a weaker time, but we're coming and getting close to coming into July. And obviously I'm worried. I'm not worried. I'm watching what happens with the 90-day pause. Trump this morning talking about doubling the tariffs on Spain because Spain doesn't want to pay for their, for NATO. And he's like, well, we're going to get the money one way or another. The rest of Europe is saying now they weren't paying 2%. I can't imagine that they're going to actually pay 5%, but at least you're seeing a change in dialogue. But point is Trump going to get a lot more with the markets at all-time highs? Is he going to have a lot more confidence in taking a firm stance on these negotiations, in quotes? Judge, you could go to in my on the YouTube home of the YouTube is a link. Yeah, let me type the link. You could just join us. You could just join us. This is Vic, but type it in yourself. That way you know that you are correct. So we're into a period, and you can see that we've extended way high on the upside variation, much like Bitcoin. We're just looking at the cycles, well below, now above. But we do have a little bit of what I would say is unfavorable seasonalities ahead. However, check out what's going on, and this is quite. I mean, July July is a really, really highly favorable period with the NASDAQ printing positively 16 of the last 17 years, 94%, and averaging 4.6 return on those up years right now as you're looking at the NASDAQ trading at all-time high. So very favorable into not these next 2 weeks, but into July is really favorable. Also, right now we are seeing rate cuts odds changing after Powell's testimony. And you can see that we are looking at the probability of a September cut increasing from 65% to 82%. But the July, right? July is next month. That barely increasing 5%. Right now, focus on September, pricing in an 82% at this time of a cut. And that could change. That's going to change depending on the inflation data that we have between now and then. Powell saying he doesn't see the stag or the inflation. Atlanta GDP right now projecting 3.4% GDP growth. I have to agree with him. And I definitely don't see the inflation. Now, Powell said yesterday that he's looking for the next 2 months to show inflation from the tariffs. I don't have it pulled up over here, but I had a nice write up of specifically focusing on Japan's exports, automotive exports to the US, and showing that they are not passing on the cost, that they are eating it. That's what actually Trump said would happen. But now we're going to listen to Powell and we're going to see who's right over the next 2 months. And we'll watch the data we have on Friday, core PCE, right? And if we start seeing any surprises on the upside of inflation data, then those September odds are going to go from right now 82% and they're going to go under 50%. Or if we continue to see inflation in line, then the cuts look like they will be coming soon. Anyway, that's it for the cuts. We'll leave it there. And how did I get from there to here? I don't know. We're just going to keep going. So right now we're looking at this coil that's taking place. And we're watching as Bitcoin continues specifically coiling underneath this all-time high, which is very bullish. Seeing Nvidia here make a run for the all-time highs is also quite bullish for markets. By the way, I guess I'm backloading as always. Uh, we have Nvidia extending those gains over here, right? Good stuff. Love to see it. Nvidia holding open position 7%. T triple Q beginning to really build now, 17% into profit. We have enter long pending, depending on what happens by the close of this session. That's when the signal is confirmed. All the stocks are traded here on the daily for IBIT. So watching that one closely as well. Then we will continue. Tesla, we had a pending long, and then you could see that, our our filters protected us from chasing over there. And we're just on the sidelines waiting for Tesla to have some more favorable conditions. MicroStrategy is looking good to me. Can we zoom in on MicroStrategy for 1 second together? And this over here, this mega pump, then this mega correction consolidation, I really call it. This reminds me of Bitcoin circa 2012. You got to see it. And then we'll come back and we're getting there. And this reminds me of MicroStrategy's pattern. That massive move up, the consolidation mega drawdown. And I mean, this is a big drawdown on Bitcoin at the time, and it's actually pretty close to what the magnitude of, well, it's not really. It's a mega drawdown on Bitcoin, but considering the move up, that's a mega correction consolidation Look at the move off of the low, and then look how it consolidates, sloping down for the launch. Okay, look at imprint this in your mind for 1 second, and now come over here and look at the mega launch, the massive correction consolidation. No, it wasn't 76%, but it's a 57%. And the move up wasn't as high as Bitcoin's back then. But the pattern, here's the low or the low. Pick your choice. The move up and then that launch pad right here and it looks like it's getting ready. So I'm watching MicroStrategy closely here. It looks like that, and we will be right on time if it happens. But that looks good to me. Um, and FNGU is back into the mix, but its deviations have to take some time to reset after we saw the ticker madness that has occurred. So we're out of that, and that is where we are on stocks. How I did that or why we went off on that tangent again, I don't know. What are bonds doing today? Let me take a look at what's going on. The dollar, I mean, flirting with pretty strong channel support over here. Is it going to break down or go? Oil, so far, the breakout, mega breakout. And I mean, you got horizontal support, trendline support. It's trying to hold. Interesting to watch. It looks to me that this whole area, mega resistance, what would happen on a breakout above. Not going to do that today. Maybe I could do this though. No, I'm just going to leave that alone. 10-year. Yeah. I mean, the slow drip down. I don't. Let's see what happens with Friday's PCE. Let's see how bonds react to the data. I mean, let's pretend the data doesn't come in hot or high and it comes in as per expectations, which is pretty great considering Powell and the Fed expected their forecasters to that we were going to see massively hot PCE inflation this year. Let's see what then and how bonds react. I think that's important for us. We are showing true inflation, definitely showing and look at oil. It's very similar, but we've seen inflation go from 1.5 up now to 217. So any type of upticks would not be surprising. And the dollar, we looked at the channel, and it's still flirting with that breakdown. So my expectation were if the dollar doesn't hold, we could see a big breakdown. Now, we got a lot happening over here in the next 2 weeks with these trade deals that never come in. And then we also have obviously what happens with the 90-day pause. Back over to Bitcoin as it coils. So we were looking at Nvidia as Nvidia makes the all-time highs, and that's why I checked in with stocks. I'm wondering, just wondering out loud to all of you, why some of you have not yet hit the thumbs up. Please go ahead, hit the thumbs up. If you're new here, welcome. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And Bitcoin here consolidating. It looks like it could be a head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders, which has a measured move up to we gave the exact targets yesterday, and all the way up to above 170. What was neat was we also did the same thing yesterday, and we showed what would the measured move be out of this, and that's exactly what price catapulted into on the election of administration that was going to be a lot more favorable to Bitcoin and crypto. And here we go. We have the SEC chairman was he gone, and now we're talking about today getting a clarity of crypto regulation bill out onto the president's desk. If that's happening, that could be a good reason for Bitcoin to make the climb. What are other good reasons Bitcoin here could make the breakout to new all-time highs and the next leg up? And we talked about yesterday from our structure what the target would be. And we said, well, the initial impulse should be right into here. And that's, you can see it's about 117. At 115, I mean, that's, guys, that, and just for clarity, because some people, they don't know, they just, you know, some people like, that is above the high wicks over here. That is like, that's above. We said that yesterday, and our expectations are right. It'll be under that. At 115, you got a massive amount. It's like a honeypot of short liquidations. There's a really strong chance that on a breakout above to new all-time highs, those shorts will be liquidated, and that comes right into our expectation structural resistance of where we would expect that breakout to at least go. I think there's a strong possibility that that is what occurs. Now, that's not the only possibility, and I don't know, and nobody knows. Obviously, we don't predict what's going to happen. We manage risk around what is happening. That's exactly what we do. If you take a look at it, and you could see, and that $85,000 number wasn't just like thrown out, like picked out of the air. And yesterday we were looking at the yellow lines and the structure that was offering, and we looked at it for a long time, and you could see over here, and which one do you pick? Do you pick the top off of to where we wicked below on the 3-day over here? Or do you go down to where here's that resistance? This is almost the bottom of this little consolidation, and where we wicked into. Well, you pick them both. I think you pick them both. You don't really know which one is correct, but the market only wicked. But oh, if someone doesn't agree with that, well, I bet your TA is better than mine. Yes, I want to get to that in 1 second. I don't want to break the flow, but I was hoping you could weigh in CEP. I'm bullish on CEP. 21's Bitcoin holdings would be valued near 4 billion, but their market cap is only. I don't know what happens exactly. Like, so from afar, right now, 21 is trading under CEP, and they're looking for that ticker, right, of choice, and it hasn't been approved yet. And like, what happens when it is approved, and I don't really know, like, exactly those holding CEP, how that all works out. I honestly don't know. Um, but I do believe that, forgetting their current holdings, and so Tether basically provided all of the Bitcoin for their current holdings. I'm not sure the arrangements with SoftBank and Canner. Does, future profits have to compensate Tether for it? Was that Tether's contribution to be part of this arrangement? I'm not sure of those specifics either. And if the company is actually paying back Tether for that Bitcoin, well, then you know, that would explain why it's not, truly valuing in what those holdings are at this particular point. But I'm more focused on 21 and what their stated intentions are. And they're looking to catch MicroStrategy. Whether or not they're able to do it, whether, like, they you got some big players with some ambitious plays. So that's not clarity. That's the most clarity I could offer on that situation. So that's where we are. Hope that's helpful. So yeah. So whether or not you're a believer, I don't really care. You gotta, you know, that's the deal with structure. It's everywhere, and it's not exact, right? It's everywhere. It's everywhere. So I'm going with what the market has been paying attention to recently, and that's a wick below. But this is where the body's found out, and you can see that's roughly 80,000 and moving that way. And here's a base. Often is very bullish. Price technically tagging a higher high. To me, not really, because that's structure. so it's even, but price making a higher high, and if you could come down to over here and test this area, which is just above 85,000, and that happens often. That's quite bullish because price will be making a higher low, and then likely setting up a move back up to make the higher high. So at 85,000 is well in play. And if we're not able to break out above, right? It's so bullish when you consolidate underneath resistance like this at the all-time high. But if you keep knocking and you can't make the break, you're going to go down the other way. And that's, again, we have, and this is why I tried to show it to you. We are headed towards a period over the next 2 weeks that are not favorable. We got NASDAQ at all time highs. That's favorable. We got NVIDIA trying to break to all time highs, really bullish. And for Bitcoin, it's going to bring the markets with it. Don't forget, all is that Bitcoin is at this particular point in time is well, Bitcoin is everything. I'm not going to confuse people like that. But yeah, it looks to me, and I think that if you ask me that, we're breaking out above, and we're going to tag 115 next. A lot of people seem to agree with it. Um, and everyone's thoughts here are all very good. I don't think that Bitcoin is tracking M2 money supply or but I don't want to get into that conversation. We put out definitely some work on that. So it looks to me like good chance here. Second shakeout. First shakeout was the break below 94,000, not 77,000 sell, 94,000 de-risk event. And then that's where we exited shortly after the Bitcoin bull runs. We're in the Bitcoin bull runs. Everything looks good. It's very, 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 very exciting here if we get the breakout. Expectations on the breakout that we hit into 115, liquidate a bunch of shorts, and then we watch what happens if we come in for a retest. We gave very specific explanations and price targets moving ahead into the summer and fall. Everything and all of that goes out the window if we do see a surprise such as the Bitcoin Act being passed. And at that particular point in time, we are going to see a lot of these cycles continuing to rhyme. But again, with or without the Bitcoin Act being passed, if you ask me what happens next as we move forward into the zone, the white line at one is going to be above the blue line at one point in time. That's where we're watching for. That's not that's I don't I'm not familiar with that. What that is, 100, why they're coming to that conclusion. There in the past there was like the golden ratio, and if you looked at the length of the bear market and then how it led to the length of the bull market, it was like a 51 to 49% ratio. Is that where you're looking at? Is that how they're coming to that conclusion? It could be. This market has the oh, let me show you this. This bull market hasn't even begun running, and I'm very consistent in all of my analysis, and a lot of people now are like, oh yeah, look at the sustainability of this channel. It's much, much, much different, right? You can zoom out, you can look at Bitcoin like this, and they could say, whoa, this looks different. And then they could, and then some people say, well, it looks the same as this. It looks very similar. Well, it looks similar, but the length is definitely not the same. It's much longer. So this is where is the bottom? Here's the breakout. Oh, something's happening here. I'm not getting any drag. There we go. So that lasted. Let me come to the daily. That lasted 2 years. 2 years. 641 days. The current length of where we are. Again, let me come to the breakout. Why are we getting no drag here? 941 days. So far, we're one third of the length longer. So that's much different. That's never happened before. And I don't think, again, outside of the Bitcoin Act being passed, that we're going to get any lift off over here. That lift off led to what? A bigger correction. But what I do think is going to happen is that instead of having that, just picture this, something much more like that. And look where it led to, the end of the bear market. Look where this led to. There's COVID, global lockdowns. If that never happens, look where we were, and so on and so forth. But look at this. We're just right on time. And if we don't have that major liftoff that we've had back in 2017, well, then likely we're just going to be able to continue to maintain this sustainable channel and well within it. I don't think that this bull market even got started from the perspective of monetary policy doesn't align. They're still tightening. They're talking about now moving towards cuts. And cuts could be quite bullish if the market's normalizing, or if it's going into recession, they're going to be rapid and it'll be quite bearish. And if they're bearish, Bitcoin is not immune. And if we enter into, it doesn't look like we're entering into recession. 3.4% GDP growth is currently estimated for the current quarter. If we were to, at any point in time, Bitcoin wouldn't be immune. And that's why I say the cycle high is going to be a lot closer to 2028 than it was 2024, because what happens in between is very variable. But at this particular point in time, there's no reason to expect or to think that. I love that chart. It's so good. This is what I project happens. And we were looking at, remember, I was looking at this with you, and I was like, watch, at some point, the white line is going to be above the blue. And you can visualize that over here. If there's the blue line coming down into the bear market, and right here where I have the box, that will be that white line getting above the blue. And I don't think that we're going to shoot up to outside the Bitcoin Act being passed. We're going to shoot up like this. But I do think that we're going to continue in this sustainability path. All right, everyone. Whoop, whoop. Are we seeing an alert here? NVIDIA breaking out all-time high. It's got to hold here. It's got to hold. We want to see NVIDIA be able to hold that breakout. We love seeing that happen over here. And you can see position beginning to build. Too bad the ticker change on FNGU. We would have been really crushing it right now. But Evan, still on the right side. Bitcoin getting ready. Bitcoin making moves, getting ready to do some Bitcoin things. One other thing I wanted to show you. Let's go down, and I'm glad I remembered. And let's just move back over to here. And the talk is, well, what happens if we do come down into like 92, which is, so 92 is a good level. I saw someone pick out 92 over here. 95 to 92. And the reason being is this was the last support. You could see up as high as in that area was when it was broken above and then established again, the broken resistance as support. So into that area between 95 and 92, that's really, I mean, that would not be a surprise to anyone whatsoever. However, we just had that little liquidity grab on the Iran and Israel war, and we're like, I don't think that this is a major technical breakdown, but here's what would suggest that we have the possibility of coming in and testing lower into that area that we were just discussing between 87 and 85. And a lot of people would draw a trend line like this and they would go, yeah, like here's the trend line. I I don't see it like that at all. My eyes go like this, and my eyes are like, okay, here's the trend line, and then look at this. My eyes are only focused here, but and you could see that we just tested into there. I mean, this broke a little bit, but it held as support. And when we broke down the breakout above, and could you go like this? I'm gonna go to the wick of the breakdown over here, and then you see that how that like, and again, is which one is it? I don't know. It's kind of both, and it always is. And if you ask me, you go like that, right? And that's where I would put it for right now, just like this. And if we broke down from here, the whole number, psychological number 100,000, we're going to see that would be a sell impulse. Now, instead of doing this, which a lot of people would do, I would say, well, this is more accurate. And you could do the one touch off of there because that's the current structure. And then if that broke over here, and look at that, that suggests taking out that 92 level where we just looked at and why that support was there. And that one touch, taking out that 92, that's what then opens up the door for 85. So I like it like that. We're going off of the one touch instead of up here as I originally did it, because that over here coincides with that last resistance confirmed into support. If you break down from at this point, that's what opens up the door to the lower retest towards that 85. And it's not just 85, like it goes all the way down towards 81. Yep, yep, yep. That's what you guys perfect. That's what I wanted to get into. Let's just take a look at Ethereum as well and see what's going on over here. And look at that. Nice reset on the RSI, first of all. Way overheated. This is CTM, as classic as you could get. And what I loved about these are bearish continuation patterns, bearish continuation patterns. And then these lines, by the way, this doesn't always work out, right? This is uh opportunity for a double triple black diamond faded, right? Opportunity for we like the last time we looked at this chart was down over here, but we had these lines drawn out. You had mega boom, boom, all the way out. So check this out. Remember we said the last time we looked at this chart together, if we break down from this consolidation, there's a good chance that we come and test the channel. We did. Let me zoom out on that channel. Guys, you won't be able to follow this unless you've been following this. Um, but I'm going to do it because most of you have been following and understand what I'm doing. So that's interesting. That green line once again holding over here. Um, is this super aggressive? See, I can't. Like, is this doesn't look right to me? This looks right to me. Right there. And I'm going off of these two. You have the one right here, a breakout above. I mean, Ethereum's on the verge of an aggressive entry over here. It's on the verge, and take out today's high. And I say likely it's triggering. I just want to look at where we are mechanically on Ethereum to give a little bit better of an edge. And yeah, I mean, we're close. We're not there yet though, right? We're about $100 off. So we talked about today's high, given the end, you know, let's look, we're if you're talking a difference of $20 or so. I would stick with the mechanical and wait for the entry. But it's around there. They're around the same time. Lower time frame. So I would even be a little, maybe give it a little room, right? That's what we did off the higher time frame. We were able to go here, here. I would give it even a little room like there. So getting above that high, same thing right there. That's the breakout. You know, 2,471. That's where I'd be going. And I'm a little, you know what? What's $10? Might as well look for a breakout above this recent high over here. That that's what I would be looking at. Boop, 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 boop. Whoa, Tom! Happy birthday, Tom! Many, many, many blessings. I hope you have a beautiful day filled with lots of love, reflecting all that you give to everyone around you. I'm sure that everyone is really appreciative of you. I know that we are. Everyone, I saw B Clay, are we on NVIDIA? I saw NVIDIA was able to upgrade guys. From very far. I thought NVIDIA was able to upgrade its software in so much that it became 3.5 times more efficient on the RAM and 50% more on its energy usage. Maybe that's why NVIDIA here is booming today, and I wouldn't be surprised. And I think that's correct. It's 3.5 times more um, efficient on the memory, 3.5 times. That's insane. And 50% more efficient on the energy usage. Maybe that's why NVIDIA here is popping. And either way, love to see it. Love to be positioned on the right side. Everyone, have a beautiful, beautiful day. Tom, happy birthday. God bless you all. I'll see you all back on the inside.